Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I want to react to an article that I found on Newsbreak. And the title of this article is this. Now, I'm going to read this title. Extremely racist Ohio woman loses it on black man telling him to get out of her town. Quote, Trump has enabled the racists among us, end quote. Apparently, this is what she said. I wish I had an audio clip of this or some kind of a video to kind of try to show you guys some of this, but I'm going to read you the gist of what apparently was said. Now, let me bring something out here. This is a left-leaning article, so the wording is, kind of like very, very like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. She's racist. With liberals, everything is racist, okay? Everything is racist. It doesn't matter, but with liberals, for the most part, everything is racist. But I'm going to take this article at face value and assume that this is totally accurate. I don't believe a lot of what I'm going to read to you guys is as accurate as they present it. It sounds exaggerated and embellished, but I'm going to read it and I'm going to assume it's accurate. I'm going to give you my response to this, what I think the solution is. I think there's a solution to this, and it's pretty revolutionary. Let's get into this. I know that may sound arrogant to some people, but I believe my solution is pretty revolutionary. The article says racism has existed for centuries, but incidents continue to surface, sometimes with alarming frequency. Remember now, this is a liberal article. Okay. A recent example and I'm pretty sure some liberal people are watching this video. It usually seems to always be the case. But a recent example from Ohio highlights this ongoing problem. Or it's an ongoing problem, right? That's the issue in this country right now. The issue in our country right now is white supremacy. Anyway, where a white woman was caught on camera launching a racist tirade against a black man. In the video, the man records from outside while the woman, seated in her car, hurls slurs and insults. She begins by shouting, quote, "Get out of my town, you N-word." Apparently, I guess that's what she said, right? Is that true? I don't know. I wasn't there. Could it have happened? I'm pretty sure it could have happened. But I'm going to give you guys a revolutionary solution to this. Okay? Before continuing with demeaning remarks such as monkey see, monkey do. Her outbursts escalate as she adds, quote, "I'm done with you, violent black man. I'm done with you, violent black man," a statement steeped in harmful stereotypes that contrast sharply with her own aggressive behavior. Oh, these people are so hypocritical. She concludes her rant by yelling, "Get the blank out of my town. I'm done with you people invading my town." Her repeated claims of ownership, my town, raises an unsettling question. What makes her believe the community belongs to her alone? Okay. Instead of simply leaving, the Ohio woman continues her harassment, escalating her racist tirade. At one point, she bizarrely exclaimed, "I never started slavery," a remark that seemed both defensive and nonsensical. Her comments only grew more hateful as she shouted, "Go back to Africa. I don't need to be around violent sexual creeps." Her behavior became increasingly erratic when she accused the man of, quote, copying her, claiming, "You got a car just like me," before shouting, see, look at all these inflammatory words that this article is using. And I'm not saying conservative articles don't do the same thing, but come on now. "You got a car just like me," before shouting, "You are violating me and exploiting me, you blank, got D low life." Eventually she drove off, but the damage was already done. Damage to who? The person? Oh, I'm hurt. But I'm gonna get into that. Now people online are working to identify her so that she faces accountability for her actions. Really? It's disheartening that in 2025, such open displays of racism still occur and that anyone should have to endure this kind of abuse simply for existing. Oh, come on, man. I'm not going to read the rest of that. You get the gist of what that is. Come on now. Now, let me just start off right off the bat. Could that have possibly happened? I'm pretty sure it may have happened. in my opinion, I don't believe it happened the way this article is spinning it. But let's assume every single word that was said in that article was totally accurate. This woman was a racist. She was a member of the female faction of the KKK, the skinheads, the benheads, the white brotherhood and the white sisterhood and every other racist group. Okay. And let's assume that she is. Okay. Let's assume that this is totally accurate, totally true. Every piece of it is totally true. That this woman is a diehard racist. She looks down on black people. She hates black people. She wants them out of her town and out of her sight and out of her life. Okay. What do we do about it? Because the article states that online now people are trying to somehow find this woman and hold her accountable for her actions. What are you being accountable for her actions? Now, somebody may say, well, we need to do that to hold her accountable for her actions because what if she's a member of some kind of race group or whatever, a hate group, and, it causes some kind of, they start abusing black people and lynching and all this. Okay, let me comment on that to someone who may be thinking that. That ain't going to happen. 9 times out of 10 in 2025 America, that ain't going to happen. 9 times out of 10 in 2025 America, that is not going to happen. You don't too much need to worry about that. Because from my experience and observations down through the years, white people, in my experience and my observations down through the years, are trying to avoid black people the best way they can. Because they don't want to offend black people. Because, black people, we are oppressed and we are oppressed and we're very sensitive. And we need our space. We don't want white people to look at us the wrong way. We don't want them to say anything to us the wrong way. Oh, if I'm a man and she's a woman, she looks good and she's white, I'm gonna be real with her. I bang that, right? I bang it. I get the boom, 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 the boom, boom, the boom. But other than that, that's it. I'll fulfill my carnal pleasures if I'm a male and she's a white woman and she good looking. I'll fulfill my carnal pleasures. But other than that, she's, I don't want to have nothing to do with her because I'm really offended by what she represents. She's white and she's inherently racist. I can't be around her. Okay. That is not going to more than likely happen in 2025 America. Okay. So with that being said, let's get to the question of this. In my personal opinion, I have a solution that I think is pretty revolutionary. Are you ready for it? Move on. Oh, my God. Woo! Top that solution. Move on. Woo, my God. I outdid everyone with that. Move on. Move on. Okay? Move on. What else do I need? What else need to be said? Oh my God, we got to find this lady because to hold her accountable for what she's doing and what she said to this man. And this man, I'm pretty sure this man is scarred for the rest of his life. I'm pretty sure he's an adult. Probably has a nice job because clearly he has a car he's driving. He has a nice job, but he's scarred for life because of what this woman said. We have to find her and hold her accountable. No, my solution is move on, my brother. You are a black man. You are superior. Move forward. Move on. Now that's deep. Put that in the textbooks, man. Put that in the textbooks. I'm gonna make a short story called "Move On." I'm gonna make a screenplay with the title "Move On." I'm gonna write a novella entitled "Move On." Move forward and move on. Yeah. Move on. Move on. Decades ago, in segregated towns in the Deep South, white people were like, black people, you beneath us. You're beneath us. You are inferior to us. Or at least the white establishment, the Democrats, okay? The Democrats. I mean, they're specific. The white Democrats. You are beneath us. We're going to segregate you to remind you of your inferiority complex, the fact that you are inferior to us. It's interesting because I've said this before, and I'm going to keep repeating it so that get into people's skull. But black people at the time were like, oh my God, I'm scarred for life. Oh God, I'm scarred for life. I just ain't going to make it. I'm beneath them. What did they do? They moved on. They said, okay, you don't want us to be in your stores. You don't want us to do this. You don't want us to do this. You want to segregate us. We're going to get our own stuff. We're going to move on. We're going to become doctors. We're going to become lawyers. We're going to become entrepreneurs. We're going to own our own bus line, movie theaters. We're going to be called the black bourgeois. Because why? We moved on. But today, this article is suggesting, in my opinion, for this black man who was insulted by this racist white woman shouldn't move on. He should get in contact with another bunch of people and maybe the government and maybe George Soros, okay, to finance a activist group and get out here and we're tired of racism with signs yipping and yapping that they are broken because someone called them names. Some white person called them names. Move on. It can be done. It is possible for black people who have experienced true racism, open racism, to move on. Now, somebody may say, well, Mr. Boland, have you ever had anyone, a white person, show any form of racism towards you, or at least discrimination at the very least? Yes, I did. And I shared that story, and I'll share it here again and close this video. Back when I was attending Cleveland State University, which is populated by white people, 90% of the people that were white. No, I won't say 90%. I'll say like 80%, 80, 85%. Let me correct that number. And I remember I majored in communications, and I was in a class one evening, communications class one evening, and after the class, I met this white dude, coolest cat in the world, man, coolest guy in the world. Love this guy. We got the vibing together, you know, talking about movies and so forth. I liked movies. He liked movies. He wanted to make his first movie, and he wanted to include me in the movie and everything. And he was really cool. Anyway, so we're outside the school and we're talking about movies. I'm explaining movies to him. He's explaining movies to me. And at this time, I'm very animated. My hands are moving and I'm doing all like this. And the white guy, he's standing there listening and watching and I'm just very animated. I'm very excited explaining movies to him, because I love movies. I think it was a horror movie, something I was talking about. I loved movies, And then out of nowhere, I look downward and I see two police officers fastly approaching me on foot. I mean, they were fast approaching. It was one white and one black. I don't need to tell you who approached me first. The white police officer run up to me like this. I thought he was going to punch me. I literally thought this man was going to knock me out. He walked up and he's like, and he looked at the white guy, and literally like the white police officer standing like this close to me, like right here. Eyes blaring, he was huge too. At any moment, he could have just crushed me. And he looked over at the white guy and he says, "Is this guy bothering you? Is this guy bothering you?" And the white guy that I was, had befriended was like, "No, we're just talking about movies." And I was like, "No, man, we're just talking about movies." And what I concluded from that was that someone saw me and this guy out there, and they saw my expressions and how expressive I was, and assumed that because I was black, okay, that I might have had violent tendencies towards this white man. Now, if it had just been a black guy and I was doing it, they probably wouldn't have thought that, right? Probably not. I'm getting somewhere. So the two police officers, and what was kind of hurtful to me at the time was that the black police officer just standing there. He saw that this white police officer was extremely aggressive in approaching me, but he didn't say anything. He just stood there. And I'm looking at him like, man, you going to help me out or what, bro? You know, he just standing there like a bump on the log. So I remember they walked off hesitantly, and I remember my heart just beating. I was so crushed, because I had basically just started my first semester there. And that was I felt at the time, my first experience with racial discrimination, which I clearly felt that's what that was and still do. Okay? It may not have been racism in the sense that that white police officer thought I was inferior to white people, but it was, from my opinion and my state of mind at the time, clearly racial discrimination. Okay? So I remember the student, he decided he wanted to take me home and everything. And I remember thinking about that. And I remember when I was sitting in his car, it was really we were talking, but it was some tension there. You could see there was some tension there because the white student, he was kind of bothered at how it happened. And I can assume that he was thinking, man, here I am, a white dude, and I'm here with this black guy. And it's clear that this white police officer was profiling him, racially profiling this guy. And I got to take him, I'm taking him home. So I think that him offering to take me home was kind of like a gesture of kindness to kind of like stave that off a little bit. But anyway, make a long story short, I remember going home hurt, crushed by what had happened. I was crushed. And the first thought came to my mind was, don't go back to Cleveland State. They're racist. They're racist there. Don't go back. Don't go back. Because clearly it was racial discrimination. But I remember the voice of the Holy Spirit speaking to me. And he said, don't mess up your education because of one incident that you didn't like. Because this is the mindset a lot of black people have today. Not all, but this is the mindset a lot of black people have today, particularly those on the left. If they experience one racial situation, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Let's protest. Let's tear up everything. Let's unalive people that we don't like. And you know what I'm talking about. But God spoke to my heart, not in an audible voice, but in my heart, and said, don't allow one negative incident to mess up your whole education. Because I wasn't going to go back the next day, but I went back. What's my point? You know what I did? I moved on. That's what I did. I moved on. I didn't allow that incident to stifle my progress. How come a lot of black people don't get that? How come that don't register in their thick skull? I'm not coming after black people and hating on black people. That's not what I'm doing. From my perspective, it's like, man, look, if we claim to be descendants of Egyptians and all this other kind of stuff, then act like it. You didn't hear nowhere in ancient history Egyptians walking around feeling sorry for themselves. And many of the Egyptians, particularly the elite, thought they were descendants from gods. And isn't that the mantra that a lot of these higher level black people talk about all the time? That we are gods? Well, if we're gods, and you know what I'm talking about, I don't believe in that nonsense at all. But speaking hypothetically, if we're gods, let's act like it. Let's learn to move on, because we're gods, right? Let's learn to move on and not let an incident like this demonize every white person, want to protest, want to unalive people, want to go around boo-hooing and crying and getting on talk shows and talking about how oppressed we are. Be the God that you claim you are a descendant of. Be that God and move on. Move on. It's simple. That's how I see it. That's my revolutionary solution to this incident here. Assuming that it's truly what this article states it to be, although in my opinion, I think a lot of this is embellished. Okay. Yeah, but that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think about this incident, this article that I read to you guys? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.